Have you ever told your children something because you trusted them, only to wish later that you hadn't? As we get older, our relationships with our children can change. They're no longer the little kids we raised. They're adults with their own families, responsibilities, opinions, and sometimes very strong ideas about what we should or shouldn't be doing. And here's something I want you to remember: being close to your children doesn't mean they need to know everything about your life. There are some things that are better kept private, not because you're being secretive, not because you don't love your children, but because some information belongs to you. Today, we're talking about 7 things I believe you should think twice before sharing with your adult children, especially after 65. Number 7 is the one that I think many parents struggle with. Number 1, exactly how much money you have. Now, I'm not saying you should hide everything from your children. If your children need to know important information for emergencies, estate planning, or helping you manage your affairs, that's different. But there's a difference between making sure someone knows where your important documents are and telling everyone exactly how much money you have in every account. You might have $10,000. You might have $100,000. You might have considerably more. Whatever the amount is, remember, your money is your business. Once people know exactly what you have, expectations can change. Someone might start thinking about what they're going to inherit. Someone else might decide you don't need help because you have plenty of money. And so sometimes family relationships can become uncomfortable, especially when money enters the conversation. So instead of announcing your financial numbers, make sure the right people know what they need to know for emergencies and estate planning. But you don't owe everyone a financial report. Number 2, every detail about your health and medical information. This one needs a little common sense. Your children should absolutely know important information that affects your safety or requires their help. But that doesn't mean you have to discuss every symptom, every appointment, every test results, or private detail of your body. You are still entitled to privacy, and sometimes adult children become overly involved because they're worried about us. And sometimes that concern slowly turns into telling us what we should be doing. Mom, you shouldn't drive. Dad, you shouldn't live alone. You need to sell your house. You need to do this. You need to do that. Keeping appropriate medical information on private isn't about shutting your children out. It's about remembering that you are still an adult capable of making decisions about your own life. Number 3, everything you plan to leave to them. Here's one of the big ones. You don't have to tell your children exactly who is getting what. Maybe one child is receiving your house. Maybe another is receiving your savings. Maybe you're leaving something to a grandchild. Maybe you're donating some of your money. Those are decisions you get to make, and you don't necessarily need to announce them while you're sitting around the dinner table. Why? Because once people know what they're getting, expectations can develop. And if you later change your mind, you could end up dealing with hurt feelings, arguments, and resentment. Your estate plan is your business. Make sure it's legally prepared. Make sure the appropriate people know where the documents are. But remember, You don't have to give everyone a preview of their inheritance. Number four, every argument you have with your other parent. If you're divorced, separated, remarried, or widowed, this one can be especially important. Your adult children may have opinions about your relationships, and you may have very strong opinions too. But be careful about turning your children into your emotional sounding board. If you're angry at their father or mother, your child may feel like they have to take sides. And even though they're adults, that's still their parent. You might forgive each other tomorrow, but the things you say today can stay in your child's mind for years. So before you tell your son or daughter every detail of an argument, ask yourself, am I telling them because they need to know or because I need someone to vent to? Those are two very different things. Number five, every fear you have about getting older, let's talk about something we don't discuss enough about. Getting older can bring fears, fear of losing independence, fear of becoming a burden, fear of illness, fear of loneliness, fear of needing help, and yes, sometimes fear of dying. Those feelings are completely human. But you don't have to unload every fear onto your children. Why? Because your children may already worry about you. And every conversation becomes, I'm afraid something is going to happen. I'm afraid I'll have to move. I'm afraid I'll become a burden. I'm afraid I won't have enough money. Your children may start carrying your fears along with their own. Instead, find healthy places to process those emotions. Talk with trusted friends. Write your thoughts down. Talk with professionals if you need to. And most importantly, make practical plans for the future. Planning can turn your fear into preparation. Number six, your opinions about how they should raise their children. Oh, Grandma Miranda is stepping into dangerous territory now. If your adult children are raising your grandchildren differently than you raise your children, you may have opinions. You might think they're too strict. They're not strict enough. Kids shouldn't be allowed to do that. When I raised you, we didn't do that. And sometimes you may actually be right. But here's the problem. They're the parents now. Unless a child is in danger or being seriously harmed, sometimes the best thing we can do is keep our mouth closed and our relationship open. You can offer advice when you're asked. You can share your experience. But you don't have to win every parenting argument. Sometimes being the grandparent means knowing when to say, that's not how I would do it, but I respect that you're the parent. That one sentence can save a lot of family tension. Number seven, how lonely you are all the time. This is one of the really what I want to talk about. Loneliness is real. And as we get older, our social circles can change. People move, friends pass away, relationships change, children get busy, and sometimes the house can become very quiet. If you're lonely, you should absolutely tell someone. But don't make your children responsible for fixing your loneliness. There's a difference between saying, I'd love to spend some time together. Would you like to have lunch next week? And saying, you never come see me. Nobody cares about me anymore. The first one opens doors. The second one can create guilt. Your children may love you deeply and still have busy lives. So instead of waiting for your children to fill every empty space, start building a life that belongs to you. Join a group, take a class, reconnect with an old friend, volunteer, get involved in your community. Find something you've always wanted to learn. And yes, ask your children to spend time with you. Just don't make them feel guilty for having a life of their own. The bigger lesson now, I want to make something very clear. This video isn't about keeping secrets from your children. There are certain things they absolutely should know. They should know how to reach you in an emergency. They should know where the important documents are that you keep. They may need to know about your healthcare wishes, financial arrangements, legal documents, and who to contact if something happens to you. That's responsible planning. But there's a difference between sharing necessary information and giving away every private detail of your life. You are allowed to have boundaries. You are allowed to have privacy. And you are allowed to have parts of your life that belong only to you. Final message. If you're 65 or older, I want you to remember something. Getting older doesn't mean giving up your right to privacy, independence, or personal choices. Your children may always be your children, but they're adults. And you're still an adult too. You can love them deeply without telling them everything. You can help them without giving them control. You can listen to their advice without automatically following it. And you can prepare for the future without announcing every detail of your plans. Sometimes the healthiest thing that we can say is, I love you, I trust you, and this is something I'd like to keep private. There is nothing wrong with that. If this video gave you something to think about, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Ask Grandma Miranda. And tell me in the comments, which one of these 7 things you think is the hardest for parents to keep private? And remember, you're never too old to set a boundary. Protect your peace and live your life your way. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.